All right, everyone, let's get started. Hi, I'm Crust and Mustard. How you guys doing? You guys having a good day? You guys doing okay? I'm gonna raise the volume in the raid call. You ready? Do you guys know who's here? Do you guys know who it is?
I don't even know. I don't even know who I am, honestly. Who am I? Krusty, fill me in. I'm having a bit of amnesia right now.
You are PewDiePie.
Hello, guys. My name is PewDiePie. Oh wait, no, I'm not. Wait.
I'm not Swedish. Wait,
Oh,
is he
I
Swedish?
wish, bro. That'd be
Swedish.
great. I am not.
Anyway.
I'm not Swedish. He is Swedish. But anyways, guys, my name is GalacticElliot, and nice to be a part of PokéTalk with my man Krusty Mustard in the building. And
that threw me off because that was totally like the opposite way that it was supposed to go. I was supposed to be like, I'm Krusty Mustard and I'm here with it just threw me off. I'm sorry. Anyway, no, he's right. It's PokéTalk. We're gonna do PokéTalk. It's me and Elliot, and I'm gonna turn my mic down because it's really loud. So yeah, if you guys have not been here before, basically what we do is we talk about Pokemon and stuff.
yeah.
That's why it's called
Pretty
PokéTalk.
much.
I mean,
I wouldn't be cool what's it go without that.
I mean, I'm not gonna make anything. Oh, we talk about Pokemon, and then you know, it's a pretty good time. So basically, what we do is we talk about some news stories that's going on with Pokemon. Then we break down a Pokemon, like competitive analysis, maybe one that you haven't looked at before, or maybe one you have, or maybe we'll give you some new ideas for it. Who knows? And then we'll take some questions, and that's about it. I mean, that's how it goes. That's good, right?
Yeah, I'm game, man. I'm game. I'm absolutely
That's
game.
good. Because otherwise, if you weren't, then I'd be all alone. Anyway, because how Doom doesn't love me anymore. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. In before, okay. All right, so I'm gonna switch over to the thing. Have you seen this before?
Yes, I actually saw part of the first episode where it's like dun 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 dun, and then it brings up the.
I mean,
it's beautiful.
I slightly changed it.
Oh,
Are you?
I want to
ready?
see it.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Now you have to
Lord.
wait for the delay, obviously.
No,
the
not the
delay.
No.
It
Okay. Well,
faded in.
anyways, it's actually very beautiful. I'm waiting still, but like,
It's a very beautiful logo.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, did you just see that?
Yeah, they saw
they
it
did
30
see it, but
seconds
still.
ago.
Oh my lord.
Of course I have a
Okay.
PowerPoint presentation. That's what I do, man. I am the king of 25-year-olds who use PowerPoint like middle schoolers. So
You know what? Let's take Prezi out of business with this thing, okay? Fuck, we ain't got time for Prezi because we got PowerPoint.
this is the best. It's not even PowerPoint. It's Open Office PowerPoint. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
I don't use name
Prove me
brands. I
wrong.
use free stuff. Anyway,
You should make an emote called Krusty Hipster. You know what? Just do it. Because you know what,
I
Krusty
should.
guys is the hipster.
I'd have to have a like hipster Pokemon as my. Is there a hipster Pokemon? Like what's a Pokemon that nobody uses but a hipster would use just to be like, shh, I used this one before it was cool.
Let's say
Corsola. It would be Corsola.
Let's say Dunsparce. Let's say Dunsparce,
I use Dunsparce.
got a Mega. But you know that just proves your. No, I'm kidding. But yeah.
It's
You know
like,
what, this is PokéTalk,
yeah, I
we can
used
talk about
Dunsparce before it got a Mega.
Jodor literally answered that right after I said Dunsparce. Wow. we read each other's minds on that one.
The wavelength, it's scary. Houndoom's like, Cradilly!
No,
I use
Cradilly is
Cradilly.
used, come on.
I use
I mean,
Cradilly.
yo, like,
I built
yeah,
one
same.
on...
Like,
When did I build it? Friday? I either bought it or built it Friday or Monday. And that thing is insane. Thing is super specially defensive. I love it. I also built a
I
mill
actually
tank.
hate Kudelli.
Mill tank
Oh
is awesome.
Lord, no, no.
Mill tank is the swaggiest
Makes me
Pokemon.
cry in NU. I don't like NU because of that.
That thing
Heal
is...
Bell and Milk Drink and Body Slam Paralysis, like my Lanta. Oh, my Lanta.
That
Just
thing
no.
is so defensive. It's unbelievable. I actually killed a Pokemon letting it recoil on me by just milk drinking, which was awesome.
Oh my god.
All right, let's see. I forgot what the first topic was. That's I'm gonna advance the slideshow. Let's do that. Oh yeah, it's the Pokemon National Championships are coming up. Dun dun dun.
Isn't that located in Boston?
That is located somewhere.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
But
By the way,
the website is on there also, because I did want to kind of source my stuff this time. Because last time I didn't source it, I just threw up the text. But basically, starting July 3rd, so in like 2 weeks, they're going to have a 3-day event. Oh, it's Indiana Convention Center. It says right there in the text. Whoops. Basically, Indiana Convention Center. It's a 3-day thing. It's for video game and for TGC. And there is an entry fee, which I wouldn't do it just for that because I don't like entry fees and stuff on competition. But I understand why. They gotta rent the convention center and whatnot. But if that's something that you had no idea about, you got 2 weeks. So book your flights to Indiana and get your hotel rooms and whatnot. You got 2 weeks.
Who
Do
needs
it.
to fly? Who needs to fly whenever you can crawl?
Well, I mean, I could drive down there. I'm pretty close. I live in Wisconsin, so that's not that's not too bad. But I don't know, man. I've never been, because with Pokemon recently, they've gotten so good with the online stuff. I don't see the need to drive to a certain location to play the game online. Like, I get the card game. That makes sense, because, like, well, I guess you could play the card game over the internet, but it's harder than just, connecting to the internet and doing the stuff that way.
They're trying to make it so competitions are like legitimate competitions rather than, hey, let's go online and play and we're gonna make competitions to that.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but it's,
they like the old school.
It's weird because they do have like so much internet connectivity now. But either way, I'm not competing in this. But if you guys like it, you totally should. Because why not, right? Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I would be in the... What would I be in? Because the... Oh! We got a new subscriber! Mr. Hartley, welcome back. Thank you very much for subscribing. Crap. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, my land.
Oh, they break up the video game stuff, right? Into 3 different categories. So it's like junior... I don't think it's senior. It might be, maybe it is. Junior, senior, and master, something like that. And I never understood, well, like, I get that, but, like, it's a weird breakdown. The junior, senior thing is weird because they just say, you're in junior or senior if you're born after, like, 2001. But if you're born before that, you're in the Master Division. That's just it, I don't know. It's a weird breakdown.
Sounds like school.
Yeah, it's weird. I have no idea. But regardless, there you go. You have the nationals to look forward to. Also, just as a reminder, you have the 2015 International Challenge on the global link going on. We talked about this last time. Also, I kind of hiccuped there. Man, I hate getting the hiccups while I'm talking. It's just like...
Horrible.
So we did talk about this last time. I'm not going to break down the whole thing. Just a reminder, it does start June 18th. Our registration starts June 18th. So it already started until Thursday, June 25th. So you have about 4 days, give or take, to register. And then the competition lasts from Friday, June 26th until Sunday, June 28th. And it is VGC doubles. I think the only restrictions are the regular VGC restrictions. I think. I'm pretty sure. So.
I gotta start doing some battles because all of these things sound pretty interesting.
Yeah,
not gonna
I mean,
lie. I'm guessing this. I'm guessing the international challenge is online, right?
Yeah. With this particular one, the international challenges, they give you points that actually give you a chance to get into like nationals and to worlds if you're good enough. If you get enough of them, I guess. I don't know exactly how that works because I've never gone to worlds or nationals, but yeah. So that is open, and it is, you don't have to drive down to Indiana. So
Times.
That's also open. I don't do VGC though, so I'm probably not gonna enter that one either. But those are all the tournaments open that I could find. Also, I found out today, so I didn't have time to add it to the slideshow here, but I did find out today that there is a Dragonite event going on for GameStop. So if you go to GameStop from tomorrow until like sometime in July, you can get a Dragonite with extreme speed and its hidden ability from GameStop. So that is also a thing, and I will probably tag that on the next one too because there will be like a week or so left over before it's over. So cool, those are all the reminders. Now let's talk about the thing that I really wanted to talk about.
Yay!
Pokemon announced their battle-ready Pokemon training rules. Now, immediately I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. Because whenever a company tries to explain more advanced mechanics for their games, usually they either oversimplify them or they just make them like where the actual metagame players are like, you're forgetting quite a few things there, and this made my day when I saw it. I'm like, oh, I cannot wait. So, Pokemon's rules for battle-ready Pokemon, for training battle-ready Pokemon. Are you ready for this, Elliot? Because this is great.
It's really that humorous?
It's pretty good. Also, my mouse is captured.
You know what, Chris? Enlighten me. Enlighten the viewers, enlighten me, enlighten yourself, even though you already know what it says.
So, if you have no idea how to battle train Pokemon, this is what Pokemon says. There is a link. It's right. I just pointed like you can see me. It's underneath this little slide here. It's Pokemon.com, US strategy, battle training ready Pokemon. There you go. Or training battle ready Pokemon, whatever it says. There you go. Okay. First rule. This was actually kind of the summary. They had like a little blurb on there before they actually, said it. So they're like, oh, this is going to teach you how to be a great Pokemon trainer, Yep. So, let's take a look. First rule of competitively training your Pokemon is to find out whether your Pokemon is good at special or physical attacks. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. But they had something on there, and I ripped the text directly from that. It said, a good trainer will seek out Pokemon that have extremely high attack or special attack stats. I don't agree with that, because you can make a Pokemon viable without having extreme attack and special attack. That works for hyper offense, for sure. I mean, if you have a Pokemon with high attack and you just put it all in attack, all in speed, and then say, let's see, that works. But that doesn't work against really strong wall Pokemon or buffed up wall Pokemon on top of that. Plus, certain Pokemon don't strategize well with high attack or special attack. I don't know. Like, what do you think about that advice, Elliot? Like, I don't know. It seems weird to me. Also, my cat's doing something.
I actually don't quite know. Like, I just, like, you gotta base your team around the other, components and whatnot. You got the special attackers, you got the walls, you got all that, and I don't really know if I could really agree with, just taking enormous damage off of one hit or whatever.
Do you run any hyper offense type Pokemon?
I guess like the strongest you can get up to would be like Alakazam. That's like an odd special attacker.
True.
It can be, you can have the Pokemon that are like all-out attackers, but you gotta have some sort of like, something else to like lean off of, or something that you can follow on. Because if you have an all-out attacker going against an all-out defensive Pokemon, then the all-out defensive Pokemon will probably have the upper hand on you. Because you can just put them in. Like let's say you have I don't know. Well, like what's a big wall? Like Probopass is a good wall in NU per se. So let's say you have Probopass coming in on a Pokemon that does not know EQ. Then
You hit it with super effective damage. It's gonna do nothing.
And even if it's like your strongest Pokemon, then you're gonna force out a switch, and then you're an all-out attacker. You have to go into your own defensive Pokemon, and if you have if your Pokemon just all attackers and whatnot, then you're probably not going to be on a good hand.
Well, and then just like Zavicius in chat said, he says, what about defensive ones or hazards? Like, all-out attackers do not do well against hazard setup. I mean, if you have 3 layers of spikes, if you have toxic spikes down, if you have stealth rocks and the web up, like, all-out attackers get insanely crippled by slower speed. So,
yeah,
that, I don't know. I don't really like that advice. Like, my most, like, all-out attack Pokemon is my Haunter. I run Haunter, but I don't just run him as, just all-out attack. I also have Toxic on him, so I can predict switches, and so I can, kind of hazard one of the Pokemon coming in. Plus, it also works well with Hex and Venoshock, which are both stab moves, but that's beside the point. I don't know that just having attack and special attack is really going to help you all the time. I mean, it does help. Granted, if a Pokemon has a high attack stat, use the attack stat, but you also have to keep in mind defense, special defense, setup, hazards, all of those other things that it's oversimplified at the very least. So,
yeah. Hazards are going to mess you up.
Yes, hazards will destroy you if you're doing all-out attack. Second rule was numbers in strength. I did not name these they did. And, okay. I interpreted this as someone who plays the metagame as well. I have to say that the way that they word stats is very confusing. They just consider all of it base stats. So whether it's IVs, EVs, whatever, they just say base stats. That is incredibly confusing for people who are just learning the metagame, because they're two entirely different aspects of the Pokemon. IVs can only be bred, EVs can be trained. So when they said base stats, I put in parentheses behind them what they were talking about, because it does get really, really confusing. But...
Like,
oh, go ahead.
Like, whenever I think about, base stats, I think about, hey, we're talking about attacks and defense and all that kind of stuff. And then if you bring up IVs to a person who's completely unaware of what IVs are, they're going to be like, wait, what?
Exactly.
And that's how I was, like, just about, like, maybe 2 years ago, I was literally unaware of anything with EVs, IVs, other things like that. And, if you're going to try to get me into Pokemon, you gotta tell me what IVs are. You gotta tell me what EVs are. If you say base stats, I'm going to be like, oh, so you mean like attack and how much the amount that Pokemon has. Like, hey, someone like Gengar has really high special attack and someone like Gengar does not have a lot of attack. I'd be like, oh, so that's what you're talking about? No, I'm talking about IVs. It's like, what is IV?
What
Hello,
is an
like
IV?
English?
I don't know what those
I
are. No, I totally
I'm like,
understand. The easiest way that I've been able to explain stats to people, the difference between IVs and EVs, because people get them confused. IVs are basically the nature of the Pokemon, the genetics. EVs are the nurture, the effort you put into the Pokemon to make it stronger in certain stats. So, IVs are your breed stats. EVs are your training stats. That's basically all you need to know for that. And they didn't really go into it in this. But they had some okay. Ugh, cat, I am going to beat you up. They had some okay advice. No, she's like trying to. Ugh, I'm gonna put her outside. Hey.
Crusty kitty.
Tessa, you're being naughty.
I don't think Tessa
Sprayed her
likes
with
the way
water.
Pokemon is explaining stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, and like I said, this is going to be totally oversimplified just because that's what they have to do when they do these releases, obviously. They have to simplify it down in case, you know, a 6-year-old who's playing Pokemon is reading it, you know? They can't just be like, here's IVs, here's EVs, this is how this works, you know? Because they have to simplify it down. But when you simplify it, you still have to have the main information of what's going on, too. And what they said with this, I kind of agree with the information, but not so much, because they do mention dex naving. Dex naving is a great way to get Pokemon with higher IVs. You can get up to 3 guaranteed perfect IVs, which is amazing. That's actually a really good start. But they don't ever mention breeding. And that is pretty much the only way to get a guaranteed. Yeah, it's the only way to get guaranteed, like, perfect IVs. So they didn't mention breeding, but they did talk about the dex nav, and they did talk about the judge in the battle resort who evaluates your Pokemon. But they didn't mention the daycare right next to it, which you can breed your Pokemon up to higher stats, which, I don't know, that kind of bugged me a little bit. Because, I mean,
it's like saying, hey, you know, you can have a cheeseburger with no cheese. It's like, yo, hello? It's a hamburger. It's not a cheeseburger.
It's like, so here's how to make a cheeseburger, but there's a Burger King right there. It's like, and your cheeseburger is not going to be as good, but Burger King makes the best burger, you know, like, it's also not a product placement. I don't know. I'm assuming somebody on YouTube will be like, oh, you would like your Burger King, I'm gonna, product sell out, okay, whatever. Anyway.
Not
get out
sponsored
here,
by Burger King.
You're being obnoxious. Alright, so, the next one, number 3, is Force of Nature! Man, it's like they spent more time on the titles than actually doing this. Actually, they did a pretty good job simplifying this. Basically saying that abilities do have a pretty big impact on your Pokemon. Or natures, I'm sorry. Did I say abilities? I might have. Natures have a pretty big impact on the stats of your Pokemon. They didn't say exactly how much. It's plus or minus 10% depending on whether it was increased or decreased. But it does have a pretty big effect. And they did mention using Synchronize to help you get I put ability in the thing. I put ability on the thing. The same nature, not ability, as the Synchronize user. So they did a pretty good job mentoring natures. Again, they didn't mention breeding and the Everstone, but Synchronize is, aside from breeding, the best way of getting the nature you want. So, I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
Hopefully they brush up with their knowledge, because you gotta know the deal with breeding. That's the best way of getting IVs and the best ways of passing down natures, and, you know, best way of pretty much trying to get the exact replica and comparative type of Pokemon as what you're breeding. Exactly. But instead they're like, hey, let's focus on the Dex Nav instead. I'm just like, well, okay.
And the Dex Nav is a really good tool in game. It's great for getting higher nature Pokemon to start the breeding process. It's good for getting hidden abilities, which let me tell you, before the Dex Nav, before Friend Safari, you know, before that kind of stuff,
Oh,
hidden
God.
abilities were the worst. But you know, they've made it quite a bit easier for new players to get in on the more rare aspects of the game, which is kind of nice. So,
Yep.
all right, hang on just a second. I'm gonna put my cat outside because she's being obnoxious.
Still obnoxious, come on. But yeah, I honestly don't get the whole entire thing with not mentioning the breeding. That kind of does bother me as well, to be honest, although I don't think it should. But yeah, you know, it is what it is, really.
Just wants my lovin', but she's being obnoxious, so I have to put her outside. All right, what's next? Number 4. Oh boy. See, okay, this is another one. They said all about the base stats.
So
Okay.
confusing.
All about the base stats, but they say every time you participate in battle, the base stats of the Pokemon go up. Which they mean effort values, EVs, go up. Not IVs, which we mentioned earlier, which is confusing. So yeah, I don't like the way they worded it, but it is, like, what they put is true. They said you can augment the base stat total by using power items or Macho Brace, which is awesome. I'm glad they mentioned that. They didn't mention Pokerus, but the chances of you finding Pokerus in the wild is kind of rare. So I can understand that. And then they also mentioned vitamins, which they call drinks. I didn't know that. I did not know, like, Carbos was a drink, but apparently it is.
What? I never heard them refer to that. Like, even
they call
whenever
them
you
base
go
stat
into the
drinks.
mart.
I've never heard that. I've always heard vitamins.
Yeah,
thought
they are
they were,
vitamins, not drinks. Like, are they trying to explain this to 5-year-olds who may not know what vitamins are? Like,
Maybe, but
I
it's
may be a little confused.
and they also did a good job mentioning that the vitamins or the drinks, whatever they call them, stop working before you hit your max. So that's good too, because that is something that you do need to know. I don't know. Do you ever use the vitamin drinks, whatever they're called? Do you ever use those when you're EV training?
Very rarely do I ever. I usually hoard or use the super training whenever it comes to EV training. Otherwise, no, I don't use. I mean, they could be useful, but they're so expensive. They're 9,800 Poké Dollars in the mart. Like, unless you find them, which they're very scarce otherwise, you're better off just hoarding or better off just super training, although both are very time consuming. So, not really the best advice, but it's a thing.
Hoarding is by far the fastest to me, because I mean, if you use the power items, you have Pokerus, you get 50 EVs and whatever you're training, you know. Which is great, but it's not as specific. So if you need exactly 88 EVs in something, you can only do one horde battle, and then you have to kind of math it out from there. Which isn't a problem. I do that kind of stuff on stream all the time. Like, oh, I need 88, so that's one horde battle, 3 encounters with the power item, and 2 encounters with the Macho Brace. That's 88 stat, But, it does get a little specific and finicky if you need very specific stat totals. So, I don't know. Like, I think they did a good job at least covering that. They didn't do a good job saying what it was, but they did a good job covering it at least. And then they even put in, and I love them for this, they put in a horde encounter table that says, what horde you use to get each stat and what power item you use to increase that. That is probably the best part of this little checklist they gave. Because it's like, oh, I need attack. It says go and do Shuppet hordes at Mount Pyre. Thank you.
That's cool.
That's
cool. Okay.
Awesome. That is a great, useful tool for increasing your EVs. And the speed one, I don't use any of those 3. I use the Zubats in the Meteor Falls. But Tailo, Zigzagoon, Wingull on Route 104 give you speed. So, I mean, yeah, this is...
Now you know.
And they're all 100% encounters as well, which is really, really nice. Like, you're going to run into those hordes. It's not, you know, oh, you might run into these, but you probably won't, you know. This is all 100% guaranteed, which is really, really nice. I like that. So, I think that is actually it for Pokemon's training guide. So what'd you think there, Elliot? What'd you think?
The best part of that was ways of increasing EVs. Now, it's decent whenever it comes to, you know, explaining the, you know, simplified stuff that they did. Simplify for the, you know, noobs or whatever as well. But, like, you know, they did an okay job. They could have obviously picked a better way of, you know, trying to tell people what exactly it is. Saying base stats is kind of confusing. You know, I don't know. They did an okay job. They could have done it better. I mean, if you're the one explaining it, obviously, it probably would have been polished a little better than that. But, you know, the company itself, they try to explain it the best way they can. And sometimes whenever they try to simplify things, they don't really say the, you know, most useful things.
Right.
Whenever it comes to certain stats. So they did an okay job.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, like, simple mechanics go, trying to bring the more advanced mechanics down to the simple level, I think they did an okay job. I would have really liked them to mention breeding, but I understand that breeding is a whole ball of wax on its own. You know, there's a lot of different mechanics that are going on in breeding, and it's hard to bring that down to a lower level as well. So, I mean, if I had to give it a grade, I'd say it's like a B-. I'll give them a B- because they did all right.
I'll give them a C+.
Oh, ooh, C+. Oh man, I give them a B-. I was more lenient.
Yeah.
But no, they're, you know, I'm for people who are just trying to get into the metagame, I would say that's an okay way of doing it. But you still cannot do that and then be like, oh, you know, this huge thing over here. Even if they just mentioned breeding and said you can breed your stats higher, that, you know, there's ways to breed your stats higher. There's ways to get better Pokemon through breeding and egg moves and all of this other stuff. Had they even just glanced on it really quick, I would have been really happy. Even if they said, you know, there's more advanced ways of doing this, but, you know, we're not going to get into it here. That would have been fine. But since they left that out, that big, huge chunk of info, I can't be like, oh, yeah, that's the best thing ever. It's probably a really good simple guide, but as far as, like, actual IV training, it's pretty bad. But on the EV side of things, they did a great job explaining it. EVs, I mean, you can't get any simpler than that. Aside from adding Pokérust, and that's rarer than getting a shiny Pokemon, so the chances that you're going to encounter that in-game is relatively low.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, I mean, I think they did a good job, at least on training the Pokemon correctly. But yeah, I don't know. I would say for someone just getting into the metagame, that's a pretty good guide to take a look at. So yeah, that was that. That was Pokemon's Guide to How to Build Competitive Pokemon, at least on the beginner level. Let's just say that's beginner level competitive building, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, honestly, there weren't a ton of different stories for Pokemon. I was waiting until after E3 to see if they announced anything on that, but Nintendo wanted to show off their toys more than that, so...
Amiibos!
Yeah, there wasn't any Pokemon news at E3, so I was pretty upset. But I did have this on here just to take a look at it. We have the top teams from Spring Regionals. And I took all of the people who were finalists, all of the finalists from all the different rankings, and I just want to take a look at them real quick, just to kind of see what people were using. Again, this is VGC, so it's not particularly my tier, or my style of battling, because I do rarely use Smogon tiers. But I do want to take a look and see if we can find any, I guess, common themes in teams, to see if, like, maybe there's something that works really well with another Pokemon, or something like that. So, let's go through this. There are quite a few of these, but we'll go through them kind of quickly. So, the Athens Master Division champion used Chandelure, Thundurus, Gastrodon, Venusaur, Landorus T, and Mawile. When I was putting this together, I noticed two things. One, Thundurus and Landorus, really popular. Like, almost every team had Landorus and Thundurus. I don't know why. They're kind of overpowered. I guess that would be why. But I saw a lot of those too.
Yeah.
And then I also saw a lot of Venusaur, honestly. Venusaur was pretty popular. And whenever you see Venusaur, he always has Venusaurite, meaning that it's that mega with thick fat, so it can absorb the fire and the ice damage really easily. So, yeah, he's... Mega Venusaur is a pain in the butt, I know. But,
hate it.
Yeah, I don't know, the Elemental Trio and Venusaur, I saw a lot of that. So, yeah, let's go to the next one. Let's see. So, what was that? That was weird. My computer freaked out there for a second.
Oh, good.
Computer, please. Don't do that to me, computer. I love you. So, the Athens Junior Division... I don't think they had... I think they only had Junior and Master. I don't think they had the Senior, whatever it is. Also, I should mention, you will see a lot of, like, 2 Megas in the teams. Just because when you play VGC, you usually have, like, swap in and out for Megas. So, like, you only can use 4 Pokemon out of the 6. So, you might use Gyarados one time, and then you might use Venusaur in the next battle. It kind of depends on who you're facing and what they're using to, you know, which one you use. But anyway, the Junior Division had Aegislash, which we're going to see a lot of, Gyarados, Thundurus, again, Garchomp, Volcarona, and Scrafty. Also, Scrafty, nice choice. I like it. And it's... I was pretty surprised at the Scrafty. It's an Assault-vested set with Adamant. And Intimidate. I get the Intimidate, but, like... I would have expected it to be more bulky than that. Like, instead of just straight Adamant. But... it must have won him something, because he got 2 champions, so... I mean,
that's interesting.
It really is, because Scrafty is RU now, isn't it? It's lower tier.
It's RU, yeah. Yeah, they recently lowered that.
Because, yeah, I know I have a bulky Scrafty, and it works really well. But I wouldn't expect an Adamant one. I get the Assault Vest. The Assault Vest makes 100% sense, because he is really bulky in special defense. So that works really well. So, yeah, I really like that one.
I guess he was looking to make it so it was a bit of a mix. As you got Assault Vest so he could take some hits. You have an Intimidate so he could take even more hits on the physical and on the special end. So I guess because of those 2 influences, like, okay, so you know, anything that really comes into this will be able to not really OHKO me unless they both target me, and you know, you can basically utilize stuff like Drain Punch, which can get him HP back, and, you know, just actually give him a nice little hard hit, especially on using Fake Out, which, you know, that could do some damage, especially with the Adamant side of it. So, I don't know, I can see what he was doing, but at the same time, you know, whenever you have an Assault Vest set, you'd probably want it to be something in lines like Bold or something like that, just to counteract anything that would try to hit him on the physical end while he's on Assault Vest set.
But then again, I mean, the Assault Vest raises your special defense, and then the Intimidate's going to lower their attack so they do less damage physically, so maybe that was the thought process, like, oh, I'm going to take less damage because they're intimidated, and I also have the Assault Vest. And he had a Gyarados as well, and I wonder if he paired the Gyarados with the Scrafty. Because
Oh
that
my
would pair
God.
really well with the double Intimidate. Then you wouldn't have to worry too much about physical attacks at all. So
Then he goes to Mega Evolves right after. So that's a really good
exactly.
lead off just to come in and be like, hey, I'm going to double intimidate you. Especially if he looks at the other team and says, hey, this person has a couple physical attackers that he can bring in to start it off. And
Well,
that could really like put a
works
nice little
really
tab
well
in,
as
you
long
know.
as they don't have Defiant, but because
True,
Defiant
if
would
you got
really hurt.
Bisharp, if you got Bisharp, you know, you
That's
may
a
want to
free
watch
Swords
it.
Dance. No thanks.
Oh my goodness. And same with same with something with competitive also, I believe, right?
Or yeah, competitive raises what, special attack when stats go down?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so my
oh
low
yeah,
range,
it's
for
something like
example.
Wigglytuff. I don't see too many Wigglytuffs on VGC, but yeah, if you went up against something with competitive, you would give it 2 Nasty Plots for free with Intimidate, which is terrifying.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, I like this kid's team. Aside from Aegislash, I don't really like that Pokemon. I think it's a little broken with King Shield, but some people use it. Some people, like me, don't. You know, it's all just personal preference. But anyway, what's next?
I actually don't even like Aegislash, to be honest. Like even me using it, I don't like it.
I don't really like its design more than anything. Like, I think it's kind of broken, but like I don't like the sword shield thing. It's just weird. But anyway, next team was Cresselia, Salamence, Thundurus again, Rhyperior, Heatran, and Sylveon. First thing that comes to mind, very OU. Very much OU. I mean, there's a couple Pokemon that are lower tier, but Thundurus, Heatran, Sylveon, all OU.
Salamence is Uber since it Mega Evolves.
Yeah, Salamence's Ubers as well. So very, very OU team. But also, this was in Madison, by the way, so this was close to me. I can't really point out anything on his team that looks like really unique. Maybe the Cresselia, but I see a lot of Cresselia in OU as well.
No, there are lots of Cresselia. Not VGC. VGC Cresselia is very common, and it's a giant wall and helping him in Trick Room. So he can have a Trick Room team, which can make Sylveon and Heatran and even Rhyperior really fast. But if you're gonna have Pokemon like Thundurus or Salamence out, not really the best idea. Yeah, Cresselia is UU, but in VGC you might as well call it freaking OU because it's used so often.
Right.
It's a different animal.
I see a lot of Cresselia on OU teams. I know it is UU, the tier is UU, but I see it a lot on OU teams in Smogon, so it is, I don't know, it's an interesting Pokemon. Also, I just realized 1, 2, 3 of their Pokemon are immune to Earthquake. Huh.
So that's a good thing.
Cresselia,
And then you have two
Salamence, and
Pokemon super
Thundurus.
effective.
So
Yeah.
that helps a lot, and a lot of the Pokemon actually, Rhyperior and Salamence both run Earthquake as well. So yeah, I mean that's actually a good idea because you could pair something like Salamence and Intimidate with Rhyperior, just start smacking things with Earthquake all over. That's pretty cool. Also, Rhyperior's RU or NU, one of the two. I just know that it's a pretty unique Pokemon. I haven't seen much of that in VGC. So, alright, what's up next? The champion from the senior division in Madison was Conkeldurr, Lando T, Charizard, Aegislash, Hydreigon, and Suicune. Ooh. Okay, first off, I like Suicune. Suicune's a really cool Pokemon. Second off, guess which Charizard it is.
It's Charizard Y, isn't it?
It is Charizard Y, yes. So, that is, let's see, Charizard Y is the drought one, correct?
Yes.
So that is, that's actually kind of a weird choice because I don't see anything on his team that really benefits from it. The Hydreigon has Flamethrower, it would get a boost for that, but the Suicune's actually going to lose efficiency because it's going to lower the Scald power. But Charizard does have Heat Wave, Overheat, and Solar Beam, so it's gonna hit like a Mack truck with all three of those. So, I mean, I see a lot of Charizard Y with Heat Wave in the VGC tiers. Also, its main ability is Blaze too, which I guess doesn't matter because once it Mega Evolves, it's Solar Power anyway, isn't it? Or no, I'm stupid. It's Drought. Duh.
Drought. Yeah.
So, there's no way of getting Sun Up anyway, so I don't see the point of having Solar Power. Doesn't really matter, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rest of these, I mean, aside from Suicune, I don't see too much Suicune in VGC, but the rest of them I see pretty often. If
Suicune's
not,
used commonly for like Tailwind.
yeah, it does have Tailwind. Also Protect. Also, if you guys are looking through the moves, you're gonna see a lot of Protect, Wide Guard, King Shield, stuff like that, just because everyone carries Protect on pretty much everything. Just to mitigate some of the damage, at least. So yeah, it's not a bad play, I guess. I don't like Protect that much unless it's very strategic. So, all right, next, the Madison Junior division. We have Venusaur. We have Landorus T again, Melodic, Rotom Wash, Heatran, and Terrakion. I've only been watching VGC for a while. I see a lot of Rotom Wash, and I see a lot of Terrakion over everyone else. Heatran again, we've seen that. Lando T, we've seen that. Venusaur with Venusaurite, we've seen that. And Melodic is really the most unique one on there, and it is Assault Vested on top of that. Melodic is a very specially defensive Pokemon, and throwing an Assault Vest on there makes it
my lord,
ridiculous. And then,
like, I understand leftovers, but oh my god,
they're
freaking Assault Vest.
They're also running competitive, which is an amazing ability in VGC because so many people run Intimidate on like multiple Pokemon. That is a free nasty plot every single time it gets intimidated. So that is a great Pokemon to run VGC-wide, just because of competitive and because it's so specially bulky. So I really like that. I like that choice. That's a pretty cool Pokemon. All right, Kansas Masters. We have Kangaskhan, Thundurus again, Lando T again, Milotic again, Sylveon again, and Aegislash again. Same Milotic as the last one, except it's running Leftovers and Recover instead of Assault Vest. But still competitive. I still like that. Mega Kangaskhan's a new one we haven't seen yet. Obviously, Mega Kangaskhan with Fake Out, Sucker Punch, all the moves that hit twice in a row and do buttloads of damage. I mean, that's pretty standard VGC. I mean, this is a pretty standard VGC set, I would assume. Like, I see a lot of all of these Pokemon, aside from Milotic. I see a lot of all of these, so yeah, I would say pretty standard, not bad. The Kansas Senior Division, this one was actually really unique, and I liked it. Heat Rotom, which is a little different. Usually it's Wash. Togekiss, Jellicent, Breloom, Lando T, and Metagross.
That's really different. Wow.
Yeah, this is the champion too. He beat everybody with this team, and it's a really unique team. I like it. The Togekiss, I love seeing different Pokemon in VGC because it's always a really cool thing. Also, it's really funny because most people have no idea how to deal with like crazy new Pokemon. They're like, what does this thing do now? You know? Heat Rotom, usually it's the Wash one, but it's not much different from Wash. It just has Overheat instead of Hydro Pump, really. Togekiss, It's a Tailwind support set, so Tailwind, Follow Me, Protect, and Air Slash with Serene Grace,
I like
which
that.
is nice.
That's OP.
That's really good actually, because those things are usually specially defensive too. Jellicent, that one was one threw me off big time. That one is also very specially defensive if I remember correctly.
The Will-O-Wisp, though.
Yeah, Will-O-Wisp is your best friend in VGC. Will-O-Wisp and Trick Room, so that's gonna help Togekiss and Metagross, I believe, too. Because I think all three of those are relatively slow. Could have been built around it, I have no idea. Also with Power Lens. Oh, I don't get that.
Power Lens? I never even heard of that.
That doesn't make sense. I think they must have, like, forgot to switch an item. That's the power item for special attack. So I'm wondering if they trained it and they forgot to remove the item. Because
that is weird.
Power Lens doesn't make any sense in this context because it doesn't do anything battle side, but it's interesting anyway because I've never seen that before. And then Cursed Body, of course, which is awesome. The Breloom is actually I was gonna say it was the standard the Spore substitute one, but it's not. It's actually Mach Punch, Spore, Bullet Seed, Protect with Technician and Focus Sash, so it's a tech boosted one, which is nice. Lando T is standard, and then Metagross is Mega Metagross with Protect, Ice Punch, Iron Head, Zen Headbutt. I like it. I like it. It's a pretty cool team.
Different teams can be refreshing.
They really can. When you see different Pokemon after seeing all this, like, you see a lot of this stuff, you know, it's Talonflame incoming. We have Talonflame incoming on this one. There's Aegislash, there's Kangaskhan, Wash Rotom. Actually, most of this guy's team, Sylveon and Terrakion. Like, it's always, you know, the same Pokemon in rotation, but it's really nice when it's, like, totally changed up. But anyway. So this guy, Aegislash, Kangaskhan, Wash Rotom, Talonflame, Sylveon, and Terrakion. We've seen all of them except Talonflame, and it is the exact Talonflame that everyone uses on VGC. So it's the Brave Bird Flare Blitz Destroyer one. Choice Banded, too. Because that thing hits like a Mack truck, and then you Choice Band it with speed. Oof.
Oh, God.
That thing hurts. Hurts, man.
That's not fun.
So in New England, I think it was in New York, I want to say.
New England is
Might be
like...
wrong.
New England is in Massachusetts, right?
Maybe. Might be. I don't know exactly. It just said New England, so I
Yeah,
don't know
it's
exactly
it's in Massachusetts.
You want to talk about unique teams for a bit. This one, I like this one. The team is...
Amoonguss and Arcanine and Politoed and Gothitelle. Oh my god.
Gothitelle, Politoed, Gengar, Amoonguss, Scrafty, and Arcanine. That is, aside from Gengar, a solidly UU team. That is really nice and really refreshing to see. And it's a Trick Room set for the most part. Gothitelle, Amoonguss, Scrafty, all benefit from Trick Room. Also, Rage Powder on Amoonguss. I like that. I really like that.
I hate Rage Powder.
I love seeing, like, crazy stuff like that. I've been trying to do, like, a Vivian set with the move Powder because I want to try that out, but it's a really hard move to learn, or like to actually use correctly. You have to go in on a fire type, and they have to use like Overheat or something. So, but yeah, I mean, interesting set for sure.
You wouldn't expect an Amoonguss to know Rage Powder, so that's pretty interesting. You know, like Volcarona has, but you wouldn't expect Amoonguss. I didn't even know you even learned it, to be honest.
Also, are you taking a look at the abilities at all? Shadow Tag on Gothitelle and Perish Song on Gengar. Those two were paired exclusively. So
that is incredible.
And Heal Pulse on Gothitelle as well. So it's a healing cleric Pokemon. I do not see that ever in VGC, but it's such a good idea. Also, Perish Song on Politoed as well, so both of those two are paired with it. That's interesting. Actually, I really like that. So you just Perish Song, trap them in for 3 turns, and then you get both of them out.
Wait. Doesn't Mega Gengar also get Shadow Attack?
Maybe?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. So you have double trouble whenever it comes to Shadow Attack, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah,
you can bench
pretty good.
for like one match. You can like bench the Gengar or bench the Gothitelle. Either way, like every single match, you'll at least have some sort of combo with some sort of Shadow Attack user, and that would be that's just
cool.
great. I like that. That's cruel. I would absolutely hate it myself and whatnot, but my lord, that's amazing at the same time.
Now, if you like the last team, you're going to like this one as well. This one is actually pretty refreshing, too. Also has a Politoed. Politoed's coming back, yo. Has a Kingdra, Ludicolo, Thundurus, which we've seen a couple times now, Kangaskhan, which we've seen a couple times, and Ferrothorn.
Okay.
In VGC. I like it.
Choice
I really like this.
Ferrothorn.
Also, yeah, choice banded Ferrothorn. You know how bad an explosion from that thing would hurt?
Brave, choice banded. Brave is perfect because attack and lowering speed. So this thing is just an all-out attacker opposed to it being some sort of defensive Pokemon. So you're gonna be so like thrown off guard because you're expecting this thing to just be a wall, but instead it's like, hello. I'm gonna use explosion and do like so much damage, and you're gonna be so upset. It's just like
oh yeah, this thing I don't have to worry about it. Boom! What? Where did my Pokemon go?
That's amazing. I actually love this scene so much. And then you have the rain also, so you got Swift Swim on both Ludicolo and I love this team. Props to Kylie because
Chua. Kylie did a pretty good job with this team. I like it. I mean, honestly, this looks like a team that instead of picking like the strongest Pokemon that are around, it was like you know what, I kind of like this Pokemon, let's make it work, you know, and it worked. It worked. She got champion, so there you go. I like that team. I like that one a lot. All right, next one. Ooh, we got one of your favorites on this one. We have Thundurus, Lando T. Seen those a couple times. Togekiss, we saw that once, same set. Kangaskhan, Sylveon, and Bisharp.
Yay!
Defiant Bisharp, too. Oh.
Focus Sash. Oh my, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Focus Sash, Defiant Bisharp, Sucker Punch, Knockoff, Iron Head, Protect. That is a great VGC Pokemon, just for the simple fact of Defiant. Everything runs Intimidate because they want to lower your attack. Defiant, you get +1 attack every time they do that. So if they have 3 Pokemon on their team with Intimidate, every time they switch in, whether they want to or not, they're going to lower your attack, which is going to raise it 2 stages, which with Bisharp is scary. This thing gets really terrifying if it starts boosting up. And yeah, I mean, that's a perfect ability for him. Really is. I can't think of anything that would be better, honestly, on Bisharp for VGC.
That's excellent.
I love it. I love it. So, Salt Lake City Masters, we have Lando T, Ferrothorn again. Not the cool set, but still Ferrothorn. Sylveon, Charizard Y, Conkeldurr, and Salamence. This Ferrothorn is a defensive wall. Running leftovers, though, that seems weird to me.
I'd say Rocky Helmet works best.
Yeah, exactly. Usually people run Rocky Helmet for that Iron Barbs and Rocky Helmet damage. Also, Relaxed Nature. I don't know what Relax is off the top of my head. I think that's plus defense minus speed. Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So, I mean, interesting ability. Or, nature. Whoops. Interesting item choice. Also, the Sylveon's running Pixie Plate. That's weird to me. That's really weird to me. I would almost, like, just for coverage, I would probably just run, what is it, the Expert Belt I think.
Yeah.
Super
So then
effective
super
damage is
effective
more.
moves are going to do more. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. So instead of that, it just goes like, all right, I'm going to use the Pixie Plate because apparently I don't have Expert Belt or whatever. I don't
Or
know.
it
It's
could
weird.
just be that maybe they wanted extra damage on Hyper Voice, but even then, I would probably run Life Orb over Pixie Plate. I don't know. It's interesting item choice. Very interesting item choice. Also, of course, Charizard Y and Salamence, Mega Salamence as well. So, yeah, pretty
The
solid.
Conkeldurr Citrus Berry. That's interesting as well. You normally see Assault
yeah.
Vest Conkeldurr. This one's a Citrus Berry.
I guess maybe so they could use Wide Guard, but again, I would use some kind of damage booster instead to up the damage
That's
of Drain Punch. But I don't
weird.
know. I don't know. It is pretty interesting, I gotta say. All right, Salt Lake City Seniors. We have Sylveon, Metagross, Lando T, Kingdra, Breloom, and Thundurus. First thing that comes to mind is Strange. Just because Kingdra's running Swift Swim, but there's only one Rain Dancer on the team, and that's Thundurus, and Thundurus doesn't have Thunder to compensate for Rain Dance.
That is pretty weird. Yeah.
That throws me off a little bit, just because I would assume you'd run Rain Dance and also run Thunder to take advantage of the 100% accuracy and the extra damage, because it runs tons of damage that way too. But I don't know. I mean, Swift Swim Kingdra is pretty cool. Also a special Kingdra too. I don't see too much of that. I usually see physical sets to take advantage of Sniper.
Really?
Oh yeah. I always see Sniper like flinch sets. So I'll see like Waterfall with flinch.
That's interesting.
I suppose. I don't know. Like
I normally see special ones with Scope Lens, Sniper, and then just Draco, everything. This energy.
Kingdra. I want to see if it's higher special attack or regular attack.
I think
No,
it's better.
tied. It's actually 95
Yeah.
in both base, so I guess it's actually both. It works both ways. Oh, maybe to take advantage of Dragon Dance, I see the physical sets. So they use Dragon Dance and get their attack up even higher for the extra crit damage. That's greed though. I usually use Focus Energy on that set though, because Focus Energy is awesome. Nobody ever runs Focus Energy. Do it. If you have a Sniper Pokemon, run Focus Energy because it gives you 2 stages of crit chance, so it's totally worth it. So that was that one, and that is the end of it. That is all of the champions from the VGC thing. I gotta say, like, I saw a lot of Landorus, Thundurus, as I expected. Saw a lot of Kangaskhan, saw a lot of... actually, didn't see that many Talonflame. I would have predicted way more than I saw. What else did we see a lot of?
Sylveons.
Sylveon, true.
Lots of
those pixel. It's always
some
pixelate.
Charizards.
Always pixelate.
And yeah,
that hyper voice, man.
I said maybe 2 or 3 unique teams in there. You know, especially the one with the the physical Ferrothorn. That was amazing. And they got to tell with Shadow Tag, and you know, that's awesome. You know, props to the people who actually look into team building more so than, hey, what's best in you know, going into VGC. Oh, let me just bring this and that and call it a day. Like, you know, yeah.
I very much like, a lot of the reason I don't play VGC is because the variety is so underwhelming. Like, it seems like there's a rotation of about 15 to 20 Pokemon, and occasionally you'll have people who bring entirely different sets, and usually the people they're facing have no idea how to deal with it. The one that still gets me to this day is when there was a VGC tournament, and the guy threw out a Pachirisu, and someone used, I think, Draco Meteor on it from a Hydreigon, and it didn't kill, and everyone was like, oh my god, that's insane! And I'm like, well, Pachirisu's incredibly specially defensive, and I would not be surprised if it was Assault Vested, you know?
Yeah.
Although it wasn't because it used follow me beforehand. But like it tanked it because it's specially defensive, and it was probably built completely in specially defense or in specially defense and special defense. So I don't know.
Yep.
It's always interesting to me when people just kind of have no idea. Like, I guess, honestly, that could just be because I stick to the lower tiers in Smogon, so it's like, well, obviously I'm going to know the lower tier Pokemon, I deal with them a lot, you know? But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish
My
there was
favorite
more
tier
variety.
is actually Enu.
Yeah, NU is really fun. I stick to RU just because there's a couple Pokemon there that I like more. But, you know, I use both RU and NU Pokemon. I just say I'm RU so I don't offend anybody when they're like, actually, that's RU, Krusty. You're not NU. You suck. So, yeah, I mean, there's a couple Pokemon. I mean, when I battle on stream, I always let people use OU Pokemon if they want because, you know, whatever. I know not everyone has a low-tier team laying around, so...
I say OU mix just so it's not all OU, but more
Right.
so a variety. Like, that's what I would go for, variety on team.
The only teams
then
I
it's a lot
really
more
have
fun
trouble
and
with are,
whatnot.
like, the solidly OU teams, like the Drizzle Rain Dance teams, the... hey, look, I got the 6 most used OU Pokemon teams. I have tons of problem with those, because it's like,
Yeah, those
okay...
are annoying.
I have a lot more trouble with people who use the same Pokemon, too. Like, I always switch up my teams. I never use the same team on cast, just because, you know, I like variety, but some people stick with the same team, and there's nothing wrong with that, because, you know, you put time into the team and everything. But they get so good with that team because they know exactly what every Pokemon is good at, what it can tank, you know, what it's good to switch into, that it becomes hard to beat them with Pokemon I just built 2 hours ago, you know? But,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I enjoy all formats, really, of Pokemon. I enjoy watching VGC, because sometimes you do see some really crazy plays. It's just not the format I really like playing. I just like singles more. It seems a little more my style is all. So...
Well, that's overwhelming compared to VGC. I never even tried VGC, and VGC just seems insane, but, like, I don't know. Too much to take account for
I mean,
me, at
I know
least.
a lot of people who do VGC, and they do it very well. It's just... I honestly, I've never liked doubles. That's why, like, that's
Yeah,
like
same.
90% of the reason I don't like doubles. And VGC only
I
does
don't like
doubles.
playing doubles. I like watching it.
Oh yeah, watching it is really fun because there's a lot of, like, usually the matches go really quickly, and there's a lot of strategy. Like, it's, hey, this Pokemon's gonna use Rock Slide, which is gonna hit both of these, and I need to mitigate damage on one, so I should protect here with this one, and then this other one can you know. Like, it's a lot more prediction-based than even Smogon. Because Smogon, like, I know what your team is. You know, like, if you bring 6 Pokemon, I know what you have in the back of your party. And I know what you're probably going to switch in to mitigate the damage of the one I'm using, so I have to predict over that. But I don't have to predict for 2 Pokemon, you know? That's a little bit more difficult. But... Alright. So... let's talk about Muck. Let's talk about Muck. So,
Okay.
I know that you have a mascot of sorts for your team, or for your stream, I should say, and it happens to be Grimer, shiny Grimer, if I remember correctly.
It's regular grammar.
Oh, is it regular? But it's shiny on the hype one.
Yep. Yeah, that's just because it's like has like shiny hype inside of it. You know, it's a universal type of hype, but it can be used for shiny since the grammar there is shiny.
Oh, that's a smart idea. I like it.
Yep.
Hype. But yeah, no. Apparently, you very much like Grimer, which I can understand. Grimer's pretty decent Pokemon, but it evolves into a bigger pile of sludge. Called
Yes.
Muck. And Muck is, on the surface, looks like a crappy Pokemon. I mean,
Yeah,
I can see why people go,
looks like a crappy Pokemon.
Yeah, people look at it and they go, really? But it does have competitive uses in the lower tiers. So we're going to talk a little bit about kind of the way we build them and, you know, what you should try to do with it. So I'm assuming you have a muck that you use competitively or have built one in the past, I would assume.
Yeah, I have. And by the way, grammar, I use it because it's I use it as my mascot because it's like derpy and whatnot more so
It is pretty
just
derpy.
for hey, it's a yeah. I use it because it personifies who I am rather than hey, it's grammar. I like it. You know, that's why. It's just so random and nobody even cares about it. I'm just like, hey, let's bring grammar and make it useful and stuff. Let's make it like a thing. And then every time somebody like thinks about grammar, they're like, hey, it's GalacticElliot. I'm like, oh yeah.
Elliot uses it because he hasn't taken a shower in 17 years. But no, seriously. All right, what do you usually run when you run like Muck? What is it good at? I guess like what kind of
Okay.
competitive uses does this thing have?
Well, it's great because it's versatile in a way. Nobody thinks it's versatile. It really is versatile. It's a special defensive wall, and that's what makes it pretty useful. It has a very high HP, very high attack, and if you run Poison Touch with it, you have a large amount of a chance to poison the Pokemon, especially whenever you use a move like Poison Jab, which, you know, it just uppers up the chance of you poisoning the opponent, even more than Scald or, you know, I think it's Eruption, or not Eruption, but a Lava Plume, which has, you know, they both have 30% of the chance. Poison Touch in itself has 30% of the chance on physical contact to poison the, you know, opponent. And luckily for us, Muck is a physical beast. So what I usually run it is Adamance, Poison Touch, running probably like Black Sludge or something like that, or maybe even Choice Band. In some ways you can run one, but I would say Black Sludge is the best way to go. And the moves that I do use are Shadow Sneak, which with Poison Touch has a 30% chance to poison, even though it's not a poison move at all. And then you have Poison Jab, obviously, which will do a lot. Or you can even have Gunk Shot, but I prefer Poison Jab since it'll hit every time. And then, you know, you have Ice Punch, which I typically run, and then Shadow... No, then you have Curse. So if you run a lot of Curses, sure, that's going to make your speed go doo. But, like, at the same time, you have Shadow Sneak to... But at the same time, you got Shadow Sneak, which will kind of counteract that and give yourself some priority. So Muck has priority, and also, you know, you can poison your opponents. Not really toxic, but you can poison them just by using, you know, Poison Jab or even Shadow Sneak. So it's pretty unique in that fashion, and that's the way I do it. And, you know, you can build it in different ways as well, which I'm sure you're going to be talking about right now, unless you do the same way.
Actually, mine's pretty similar. Also, I'm going to put the stats for Muck up on the screen as well, just so we can take a look. So, Elliot was saying it's very specially defensive. It has a great attack and great HP, and it does. I mean, 105 base HP and attack, and 100 base special defense. And honestly, 75 base defense is not terrible either. It has really good stats for the ones that actually matter. And I run something very similar. Poison Touch is a great ability. Stench is also a great ability. I think Poison Touch is a hidden ability, Stench is not. So if you have to run one with Stench, Stench has a chance to flinch a Pokemon, and you have Shadow Sneak. So you might Shadow Sneak and actually flinch the Pokemon, which is awesome. Waste their turn, and you get to do some damage. Most of the time it's chip damage, but even then, I mean, maybe you're up against a Gengar or something, and flinching it actually helps. So I do usually run Poison Touch, though, because the poison does tend to be a little bit more useful. I also do run Poison Jab over Gunk Shot. Gunk Shot does a crap load more damage, but it misses half the time. So
Yeah.
it has the same accuracy as Focus Miss, and I don't like Focus Miss, so I don't run Gunk Shot most of the time. The only one I run Gunk Shot on is my Primeape, but that's a whole different Pokemon. But yeah, I run pretty much the same set. Curse, one Curse makes this thing insane, because it'll take your 105 base attack and do it 1.5 times, which is really great. I mean, just having that +1 attack and +1 defense helps as well. It brings your defense up about to where your special defense is, so you end up tanking things a lot better. Usually running Black Sludge for the recovery, and I run Fire Punch over Ice Punch just to deal with Steel types, because a lot of Steel types come into Muck because it's like, oh, he doesn't have anything he can deal with me. Hit him with Fire Punch, guess what? That's Steel type. Not enjoying that too much.
Yeah.
Most of the time,
I run Ice Punch. I run Ice Punch in case a ground type comes in and says, hey, I can EQ you. Oh, well, if you come in, you're probably going to take half your health out of the way. If not, if I've like at least 1 or 2 curses up, it could even be an Oko depending on what the Pokemon is. So goodbye, whatever's coming into this Ice Punch, because it's going to maybe demolish your life.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up for me between Ice Punch and Fire Punch. I run Fire Punch just because I see more Steel types, but, I mean, Ice Punch is entirely viable just for that coverage against one of your weaknesses, which is Ground and Steel. That's basically it. Well, Ground and Psychic, but you have Shadow Sneak for Psychics, and Steel, which completely resists your most powerful attack, so you hit it with Fire Punch and it's not around anymore. Like I said, the only reason I run it is Steel types because Muck with Ice Punch can't actually do anything to a Steel type. And I hate bulking up and not having coverage for something, you know? At least with Fire Punch, I'm able to still hit it with Shadow Sneak or something and do some damage, but Steel types resist Ghost, I think. Don't they? Maybe?
Steel types resist... No, it's not really effective.
Yeah, so they resist Ghost, they resist... or they are immune to poison, and they resist Ice. So that's why I run Fire Punch over it. But, it is a really good set, regardless, whatever punch you decide to pick. If you want, pick Thunder Punch, although that's not a good idea.
You're bound to use Fire Punch or Ice Punch. Those are like the two things you would want to, put on these, and that just makes, Muck that much more versatile, really.
I mean, there are other sets you could run with him. I don't know. I don't know whether or not he gets Amnesia. That would be kind of a deal breaker for me. If he could run Amnesia, he could actually run another pretty versatile set that I run on a lot of Pokemon. He cannot. Okay. So, he could not run the Amnesia Curse set that I run on way too many Pokemon. Dude, Amnesia Curse is my favorite combination in the game. Amnesia Curse and Calm Mind, Barrier, Iron Defense, or Acid Armor. That is ridiculous.
That is crazy.
You could very easily raise his defense to pretty high levels. With Curse or with Acid Armor, he does get access to Acid Armor as well, being a Poison type, which I don't know why some Poison types don't get that. It's kind of weird. He also gets access to Stockpile, which you can do some interesting things with Stockpile. You can get +3 in both defenses. Plus, you can use Swallow to get a bunch of health back. Although I don't like that you drop defenses when you do that. He also does get access to Pain Split, so you could run a Pain Split Muck instead of like a Curse set to get some of your health back as well. Other than that, I don't really see anything that's jumping out at me. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't do well as a special attacker. That seems to be the one thing he can't do very well. He gets access to a lot of special attacks, but he can't really utilize them very well, which is unfortunate because he gets access to stuff like Sludge Wave and Sludge Bomb, and he doesn't get Venoshock. That's interesting too. Really? Oh no, he does. Never mind. I missed it. He does get access to Venoshock, which is a great special attacking move if you have Toxic or something. But his special attack is meh.
Not the best.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's 65 base. That's not the worst thing in the world.
But then you compare it
But
to the attack, and you're just like, yeah, 40 difference. You may want to go with the physical Muck, if anything else.
right, like I mean, physical Muck seems to be the most popular set. Using him in a special wall, but also using him for a physical attacker seems to be the way to go. I usually run max special defense, max HP, because I know I'm going to buff up my attack anyway. But I mean, I've seen a couple variants of that. As long as you're buffing HP, attack, or special defense, you're pretty good. I think that seems to be the most. Well, that or defense. You can buff up defense too, so you're more even on defenses. But I don't know. I think that is Muck. I guess that's pretty much how Muck goes. I can't really think of any other...
I unfortunately and ironically, I have not really used Muck much at all competitively. I think I've only used it competitively in one time. And you know, for my NU team that I normally do end up using, I do not even have a Muck on it, nor do I have a Weezing on that. So I have a bit of like a different type of team for NU compared to what other people would run. But you know, I really do want to, you know, some way utilize Muck in a team. And I've seen Muck even using like UU whenever it's an NU Pokemon. So this thing could, you know, you shouldn't really limit Muck as a Pokemon to only be used in NU or RU. You can use this thing in UU and it would still do decently even. So you got some sort of versatility, and you know, it could be used as a special wall if anything else. So you know, it's pretty decent.
It's got good defenses, it's got a great attack and amazing HP. So I mean,
Great
it
move
is
as well.
It's all over the place, man. It's a pretty good Pokemon. It gets really good coverage as well. So I would recommend using it. Last time we talked about Corsola and how defensive that thing is. This is basically the special defensive wall with attack and with a lot of HP to cover that special defense. So that is our competitive analysis of Muck today. Now it is time for questions. So if you guys have a question in chat, just go ahead and ask it. We'll answer like 5 or so, and then we'll wrap this up. Also, you can tweet us a question if you want, at GalacticElliot or at CrustyMustard90, because some jerk stole Krusty Mustard. But if you guys have a question, go ahead and ask it in chat or on Twitter, and we'll answer a few of these and see what we come up with for answers. How about that? How about that?
Okay, sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
Let's do it. Now we have to wait for the delay to catch up so they hear me say that. And we have to see if anyone actually has any questions. What if they don't have questions? What if they're just like, eh.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, whatever.
Who's your favorite Pokemon?
Okay. So, should I answer this first, or should you answer this first?
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay, so my favorite Pokemon is not Grimer, not Buck. It is Typhlosion. The reason being is because it's awesome, and I actually love using it in battles, because Choice Scarf is amazing, and Eruption with that is awesome. The worst part about it is whenever there's like a Stealth Rocker, you know, spikes, then Eruption is not going to be great, but I just love it, and I just love its design, and I think Cynical is like the cutest Pokemon ever. So yeah, that's my favorite Pokemon.
I like Typhlosion too. That was always my Gen 2 starter every time, because I don't like Totodile or Chikorita as much.
It's funny because I use Totodile more than I ever use Cynical, even though I prefer. So that is a little weird. It's more so my recent favorite rather than a rather than like an all-time favorite. I don't really know what my all-time favorite Pokemon would be, but right now it is Typhlosion.
I don't particularly have like a favorite Pokemon competitively. Like I don't base my favorite off like, oh, I use it competitively, or I use this and here, and you know, it's more of a design reason, and it's recently shifted. It used to be Cubone. I really like Cubone's design, but I realized that I liked Haunter more. I really like Haunter's design, just because it's a cool looking Pokemon. It looks like a ghost, and it's ghost type. I mean, I like it. It looks cool, and he's all like sassy. Well, like even
See that?
like his attacks when he attacks, like he either sticks his tongue out at you or like claws at you. That's cool. I like it. He seems like one of the very few Pokemon where like the movements make like 100% sense for the type of Pokemon. Because some of them are kind of, some of the animations are a little weird, but with Haunter, it's just like, I believe that Haunter's there, you know, I just like Haunter, it's awesome. So yeah, I would say Haunter. Let's see, what type of set would you run on an Emboar? I don't know. I haven't run Emboar
don't really
before.
know too well. I know you could have like Fire Punch on it, probably Flare Blitz. I know it's a decent Pokemon, definitely on the physical ends. Though I have never really looked too much into it. I'd say go on Smogon, and I think they have some cool sets over there. I've never really seen too many Emperors online either, so I couldn't really answer that too well myself.
I wish I could help you, but actually I can help you. Do yourself a favor. Go to the Smogon website and look at their Pokemon X and Y Pokedex. They have like sets for like the common sets used for certain Pokemon. I can guarantee there's one on there for Emboar and what is commonly used with him. So go to Smogon.com, go to their Pokedex and check it out. I'm sure it's on there. If it's not, then it's Elliot's fault. So
Oh no!
no, please. How important is boosting your crit chance in competitive teams? Not. I mean, it depends on the Pokemon. That's really what I would say. Like, crit chance is nice.
I'd say like Kingdra.
Yeah, exactly.
Kingdra, if you're gonna use Sniper, you want to have the Scope Lens, you want to have the Focus Energy. Otherwise, not too important in my opinion, because that's kind of relying on hacks in a way, and you want to kind of
like it does depend on the Pokemon. Like I have an Ariados that I use Scope Lens on. I have all high crit chance moves, and it has Sniper, so it relies on Sniper to actually do tons of damage. I also have a Drapion that does the exact same thing. Stuff with Sniper, it's really important to boost your crit chance. Stuff with Hyper Luck. I think it's Hyper Luck. Or Hyper Cutter? I don't know. Or Super Luck. Maybe it's Super Luck.
I think it's Super Luck.
Might be Super Luck. There is one that's like Super Luck or Hyper Luck or something like that, where it has a higher crit chance. So running high crit moves, using the Scope Lens, using Focus Energy, is just going to improve that critical chance even more. So it's a really good idea if your Pokemon's based on doing more damage through critical hit. If you're running just a normal Pokemon and you run Scope Lens, it's going to boost your crit chance, but it's not going to be as useful as running, say, Life Orb, because it's not 100%. Or Focus, or not Focus Band, but Choice Band, or Choice Scarf, or Choice Specs, stuff like that. Usually, Scope Lens only really works well on Sniper or Super Luck Pokemon. That's about it. Other than that, I wouldn't really run it. So, yep. What do you like about Gen 4 Krusty and Elliot? Oh boy. Why don't you go first, Elliot?
I don't know. I like Gen 4 typically. I think the music, in my opinion, is absolutely amazing. I think Gen 4 has the best music. That's just my opinion, though. Team Galactic's pretty decent. My name is not based off, Team Galactic, although my name is GalacticElliot. It's just a random, I guess, adjective before my name, so there you go.
I don't know what you're talking about, Krusty Mustard. What?
And then I don't know. Basically, I like it. I think it's unique. I think it was a big change from Pokemon graphically wise. They didn't perfect everything, but I think it was a huge step up. and to make what Pokemon is today for sure. They kind of shifted something such as speed. Like I guess swimming. Swimming went from being extremely slow from Diamond and Pearl to extremely quick in Platinum. So that's the thing. I think Gen 4 is kind of given enough credit, and a lot of people did end up taking a break from Pokemon around Gen 4 and Gen 5. So that's kind of upsetting, but I think it's a good game. I think they really did step up the I guess engines of Pokemon rather than how it was in like Gen 3, Gen 2, and Gen 1.
I like how you ended that. The engine was better. Okay, so if you've been in my cast before, Grim has, and he knows this, and he wanted me to answer it this way. I very much dislike Gen 4. Reason being, it was such a departure from the earlier games, the ones that I had played a lot when I was a kid. I didn't like Gen 3 either, but that was for a whole different set. Gen 4 had a lot of promise with the engine. The engine was not bad. It was, I mean, really, if you step up through the generations, the engine is always better than the previous engine. That's just guaranteed. That's how Pokemon works. But I didn't like a lot of the gameplay stuff. I didn't like the team because the plot was overly complicated and like, I want to make a new world, so I have to destroy this one. No, you don't. Just make a new world. Go make your own world. Leave mine alone. I don't see why that's a problem. Or, we have to revive Giratina so it can revive this one. Whatever, dude. I don't even care.
The storyline's a little too deep.
Yeah, I mean, it was too much for a Pokemon game. You know what I mean? Like, I remember Gold, Silver, Crystal, where it was, we just want to steal your Pokemon. That's it, we just want your Pokemon, not we're gonna revive this one so we can destroy the world and make a new one. Because I don't know.
Once it got to Gen 3, it's all like, let's take over the world.
Right?
Like, hey, let's steal your Pokemon. It's just like
that was a lot of the problem. Like, that's actually why I dislike Gen 3, because the teams make no sense. And if you think about it for a second, there's no way you can argue it does, because one of them wants to flood the world. Humans can't breathe water. Just letting you know. And then the other one wants to dry up all the water. Humans need water to live. So either way, you're killing all of humanity because you want to expand, and they never explain why they want to do it. It's just like, oh, we want to return Earth to its primal state, or oh, we want to make it so we can colonize more, but like, why? What's wrong with it now, That never made sense to me, and since then, it kind of just got weirder and weirder, except Gen 5. Gen 5 was alright-ish storyline until the very end, but it was a lot of that I didn't like. Like, the story I didn't like the story. The music, I'll admit the music was alright. And there was a lot of missed opportunities. And I know that doesn't make sense really, but like there's certain things in the game that just don't make sense. Like the fact you can only get 2 fire type Pokemon throughout the entire playthrough. You can get Infernape or you can get Ponyta. Those are the only 2 fire types.
Serious?
Yes. Unless you're doing a randomizer. But yes, those are the only 2 fire types you can get throughout the entire game. That doesn't make sense mechanically. You know what I mean? Like, why would there just be 1 fire type Pokemon in the wild? Like, where are the rest of them?
Really, that's ridiculous. It's like, hey, let's completely leave out a whole entire breed of Pokemon. Yeah, it's like,
I think you could get them like post game or something. I think there was a way to get them post game, but like throughout the playthrough, and it's weird too because you think about it, like they introduced stuff like Magmortar in that generation. Why?
Yeah,
why did you make Magmortar if you can't get a Magmar? You can't get a Magmar through the story. Like, just playing through it.
That's silly.
Yeah, it's odd.
That is really silly.
It's really odd. That's why it's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't really like that. Plus, the one thing that everyone tends to forget about Gen 4 that I really disliked was the fog.
Oh my god.
That is usually the response when I bring that up too. It's like, okay,
I hated the fog. I don't know why.
it's like, I love this game. It's great. And then I'm like, fog. And they're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So horrible.
It really was. The fog killed me, dude. I hated that so much. But, you know, oh wait, you might be able to get Flareon too. I don't know.
Yeah, from Eevee.
Oh yeah, you could get an Eevee through the playthrough. So yeah, you could get a Flareon. So 3, sorry. I forgot about Flareon. But that's still a pretty low number.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There were a lot of mechanic-wise reasons I didn't like it. But the engine was good, and proof for that is in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I mean, those were excellent games. Not the best. I mean, not as good as Gold, Silver, Crystal, but they were excellent games because they were just using what was in Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, but using it with a good story, using it with faster battle mechanic, which was really nice, because Diamond and Pearl were slow, dude. Like, the battles were really slow.
Yeah. Really slow game. That's the biggest complaint I have about it. Really slow.
But then they optimized it for Platinum, and then they optimized it even more for Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which was really, really nice. I also didn't like Cynthia. Everyone's like, oh, she's cool. She's like the coolest trainer ever. And I'm like, what personality does she have outside of, I am a cool rebel chick? Cool. That's...
Yeah.
But she was the strongest.
Cool, but,
she was the strongest ever. She had level 80 Pokemon. It's like, yeah, but my Pokemon were level 80 something too by the time I got to the end of the Elite Four. It wasn't that bad. I had more trouble with Lance in Gold, Silver, Crystal than I had with Cynthia. Oh, maybe I was just over leveled. Could have been.
Maybe.
But I don't know.
Happens.
Those are my gripes about Gen 4. Like, at the end of the day, I always rip on Gen 4. Like, I do. But it's the worst Pokemon game, in my opinion. It's the worst Pokemon game, you know? Regardless, it's a Pokemon game still. I would still play it. In fact, I'm going to play through it on my channel eventually, and I'm probably going to gripe about it, but it's still a Pokemon game, you know? At the end of the day, I'd rather play it than, I don't know, Call of Duty.
Yeah, like, I don't know. That's how I am with Pokemon Black and White, personally. I didn't like the game really much, and I had my flaws with it. I couldn't really, I lost interest in playing it, but still, it's a Pokemon game, so I'm still gonna like it more than a, you know, non-Pokemon game, at least, unless it's like a Mario game that's decent, but, you know.
I mean, that seems to be the consensus. Like, Gen 4 was good, Gen 5 was bad. Like, that's what I hear a lot, but, like, I'm the exact opposite. I hated Gen 4 and I love Gen 5. It's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. Probably am. I talk to myself with a camera for 8 hours at a time, so makes sense. Right. Should you get a 2DS or a 3DS? I don't know. I have both, and I like them both for different reasons, but I like them both.
Depends if you're on a budget. If you're on a budget, get a 2DS. If you're not on a budget, get a 3DS. You know, if you have the money to spend and you want to get a 3DS, then yeah. If you only have a $200 and you're like, hey, I can't get a 3DS with $200, and you can get a 2DS though, and I kind of want to get it now to play this and that game, then get a 2DS. It's that simple.
Really,
depends also if you're a casual gamer.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on whether you're streaming it or if you're playing for yourself. If you want to play for yourself and you want the 3D gimmick thing, get the 3DS. But if you don't care about the 3D, or if because like I know a lot of people where the 3D just doesn't work for them, get a 2DS. The only thing I can say about the 2DS is you need screen protectors on that thing because you can't close it up. So it gets really dirty really fast. I know that I've had to clean this thing more in the last 5 days than I've had to ever clean my 3DS because you can close it up and keep the dirt out. But aside from that, eh.
Yep.
All right, one more question. What would be the best team for shiny hunting with DexNav? Do you have like a specific Pokemon you use for shiny hunting, or if you're DexNaving, I would assume?
If you're Dex-nabbing, most important thing is having a Gardevoir, an Espeon, or anything with Synchronize. Because if you're going to be hunting for it, like a shiny Pokemon, you want to have that shiny Pokemon to at least have a decent nature, so then you can maybe use it competitively, or maybe breed with it, or whatever the case may be. So what I would say is bring like a Gardevoir with whatever nature you want to synchronize for. So let's say you want to end up getting like an Adamance Zangoose. You bring an Adamance Gardevoir with synchronize, and then you have 50% of the chance to getting a shiny Zangoose through the DexNav.
Mm-hmm. Well, with Adamant. But
Yeah.
I don't do the synchronized stuff, mainly because all of my shinies are like trophies. I don't ever use them competitively.
Yeah, if I were to use a Pokemon team, I would use if that's what they're asking, I'd personally bring
Right.
whatever I want. But if you want to have a specific team, I would say bring something with either lots of PP, so then you won't have to use as many PP restoring items, or bring a Gardevoir or whatever with synchronized with the nature that you want to synchronize.
Yeah, I personally use a Scizor with Metal Claw, Quick Attack, Bullet Punch, and Wing Attack. Those 4 moves are the highest PP moves in the game once you use max, or PP max, or whatever it is. So I can go, I think, 208 encounters without using restoring, which is really nice, by the way. Actually, most of the time I get the shiny before I have to restore Scizor. I haven't had to restore it once on a shiny hunt yet, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you want a certain nature, use Synchronize User. If you're doing Horde battles, Aromatisse is the one that I use for Sweet Scent and Horde control, because it learns, what is it? Not Fairy Wind, Disarming Voice and Dazzling Gleam, which hits everything on the field. If you're doing egg shiny hunting, bring something with Flame Body or Magma Armor, because otherwise you're going to be there for a while. Actually, if you're just doing eggs in general, have a Pokemon in your party that has Flame Body or Magma Armor. I use, not Magmortar, Magcargo. So I use Magcargo just for my hot Pokemon. It hatches the eggs faster. What else? What other shiny methods are there? I think I covered most of them. Oh, chain hunting, or chain fishing. Chain fishing, suction cups, right? Suction cups and
suction cups.
Sticky hold, maybe.
Yep.
I think sticky hold too.
Yep.
So yeah, use suction cups and sticky hold, and that doesn't guarantee an encounter, but it raises it to the point where it's like viable. Because half the time when I fish and I don't have a suction cup user, the character puts the rod in the water and immediately pulls up and says, "Ah, there's nothing there!" And it's like, okay. You have to leave the pole in the water for longer than 2 seconds. But anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I have like a rotation of about 6 Pokemon that I use. Smeargle is really good for that too, because he can learn any move, so you can do, high PP. You can do. He gets Technician, I believe, also, and you can use Spore and False Swipe, stuff like that. That's actually another one for shiny, like DexNav. Any shiny encounter one. Bring someone with Spore, bring someone with Soak, and bring someone with False Swipe, because you need all 3 of those, really, for catching shinies. Make sure your Parasect doesn't have Effect Spore, too, because I have one, and it has Effect Spore, and I need to switch that, because I am terrified that a Pokemon at 1 hit point is going to tackle me, get poisoned, and then die.
Bye.
That's so terrifying. But yeah, I mean that seems like a pretty good team there. You really only need one of them with you, though, for whatever you're doing. You don't need to bring all of them with you all the time. But yeah, that's basically what I would say. I don't know.
Yep.
So, I guess it is time to wrap up PokéTalk, episode 2. Oh boy! We're gonna wrap it up. So,
Been a fun time.
Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Nothing too crazy. It's been a fun time. A pleasure, obviously, to be on here with you. And hey, I look forward to doing more.
Well, you're always welcome back. You know, if we'll be doing the next one. Oh, what date is that? The Sunday, the 5th of July. Because we do it every other week. So make sure you guys click the follow button. Let's actually send you guys out for a raid. How about that? Who should we raid? I have to bring up Twitch. Let me take a look at who is currently live. Dum da dum dum. Bum ba da bum bum ba dum. Bum bum ba da ba da bum. Man, nobody I know is live right now. What is going on? Okay, here, I know who we're gonna raid. I know who we're gonna raid! Alright, so we're gonna do a little bit different of a raid message. Hang on. Raid message. Let's see. Yappa. There we go. Pokey. Dang it! I can't get the E to happen. There we go. Talk raid. There we go. So, there's the raid message. Copy that. We are going to go over to Twit's channel. Go over there. Show him some love. Thank you very much for joining me, Mr. Elliot. Make sure you guys check out GalacticElliot's channel as well. Right there. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, for some more build-em battles. And, yeah. Love you guys. Thanks for being awesome. And, that's it. So, yeah. I don't know how to end shows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for being dead. My brother came in the room.
Oh.